Welcome into the Rancho Kitchen and 5-minute ciabatta bread. Ciabatta bread I really love. It's the bread that has the big holes in the middle of it. Great for holding butter, holding olive oil, or holding jam. Great, great, great. And it's so easy to make, as I'm going to demonstrate here. The tricks are you need some high protein flour. I've got the high gluten flour here. It helps it be more elastic and rise more. I've got a little bit of yeast. I'm going to use a teaspoon or two of that. If you're very short on yeast, you can use a tiny amount and start the day before on prepping your bread. A little bit of yeast goes a tremendously long way. Okay, and a nice mixing bowl. We're going to get some warm water too, a little bit of sugar, and a little bit of salt, and we'll get going. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is put about 3 cups of lukewarm water. You've got to make sure it's lukewarm or you will kill your yeast. I'm making enough here for 2 loaves, by the way. Okay. Next, I'm going to add a teaspoon of the, probably use 2 teaspoons of the yeast. I have quite a bit of it. A teaspoon of the sugar. And once I get this up and proofed well, I'll add the salt later. Proofing means proving that your yeast is good. I'm going to add a little bit of sugar here. Let's see if I can take this off. Add about a teaspoon of sugar there. And I'll go ahead and open the yeast and add about 2 teaspoons of the yeast. I like to keep mine refrigerated. It keeps it good. Alright, here goes the yeast in. That's about 2 teaspoons. Throw that in right on top. And I like to accelerate the process a little bit. I like to take my whisk. Pardon the noise. I'm trying to get my whisk out of here. There we go. Get my whisk here. Go ahead and whisk that up to give that a good start. Okay, this is so easy to do. The total time, if I wasn't recording a video, this would take me less than 1 minute to do this. Okay, once we get this all bubbly and good, we'll add about a tablespoon of salt because we're making 2 loaves here. Okay, see you in a bit. Look at how nice and bubbly that's getting. It's enjoying feasting on that little bit of sugar that's in there. It helps to accelerate it and bring the yeast to life. I'll go ahead now and add the tablespoon of salt. Nice and bubbly. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is start adding my flour in. I'm going to add 3 cups initially here. And you can always adjust the water and the flour later. Now you're going to need a heavy mixing spoon. I want to go ahead and mix this so it becomes like a thick batter here, okay? And do that. I'll see you in a couple of minutes. I did go ahead and add a 4th cup of water here, and here comes, just because I want to make sure I have enough for 2 loaves here. And here comes number 4 here, and there is number 5. I'll stir this up. It's going to look like a batter. You have to get used to the fact that it's going to be a very wet bread, but that's what gives it the big holes. So I'm going to go ahead and got 4 and 5 right now. We'll probably end up with 6 cups of flour. See how wet this is? That's looking perfect. I'm going to go ahead and continue mixing it so that there's no lumps. I'd like it to be as smooth as possible. Then all I have to do is cover it. Okay, and that's about just about 2 minutes of work to bring it to this point. Not counting, of course, the time resting for the yeast to come to life. That's the way she looks. So all I have to do now is get some of the plastic wrap on. I'm going to sit it outside for about an hour and a half and let her double in size. Then we'll come in and we'll kind of punch it down a little bit. We have to. It's going to be messy. But it's kind of fun, so let's go ahead and cover it and stick it outside. There it is, all covered good, so we'll let it do its thing and enjoy a little bit of sunshine here. That should really activate it and go on good, so it should double quite rapidly. So I'm gonna go take George for a walk. See you in a bit. I took it out of the sun. I didn't want it to overheat and kill the yeast, but it's nice and warm today, so I have it sitting over here. By the way, if you want to add a little bit of oil, maybe a quarter of a cup of neutral oil or olive oil, that'll help preserve it a little bit, but we eat it pretty fast here. And just in case you wanted to do that and stir it in, add a bit more flour. You're trying to have something that is a batter-like consistency, okay? That's what you have to work with. And look at how nicely this is risen. It's been about an hour, and this is going to take you no more than 10 seconds. What you want to do is gently sort of go around the outside and pull it into the middle. You don't want to disturb a lot of the air pockets that are in the dough, okay? And you want to scoop deep. I have a glove on here. Kind of pull that over into the middle. This is actually adding flavor into it here as we go along. So let's cover it up again. And in about every half hour, you're going to come back and you're going to do the same thing. Okay, I'm not going to keep it in the sun here because it's getting a little too warm. So, okay, I'll see you. We're going to do this about every half hour. It should take you no more than 10 seconds to just go in and do that. Okay? All right. Look at how nicely that's risen. That's done that about 4 times today. Nice and jiggly, ready to go. Now it's going to be tricky handling here. I have the oven set to 800 degrees. You should set your oven as high as as it can go. Forget about the 350. 10 minutes, we're going to bake it at very high temperature here. It's going to give a lot of spring. It's going to cause the yeast to get excited, and it's going to go crazy and make a really nice loaf, give you nice big holes in it. Second thing, you'll notice I have an iron skillet inside, down there heating up with the oven. When it's time to put the bread in, you're going to take about 4 cups of ice and drop it in there. And then put your bread in. That's going to create steam for about 5 minutes or so, and it's going to slow down the formation of the crust and allow the bread to really rise to its maximum before the crust sets, okay? That's why commercial bakers always use steam-injected ovens to put some moisture in, okay? See how nice that looks, huh? I've hardly spent, what, maybe 3 minutes this whole process? Woo! All right, this is the tricky part now. We're without deflating it. We're going to try to put it out on the counter here. You want it out kind of rapidly. Look at how that is. I know it looks a little difficult to work with. It is a little challenging, but you get used to it after a while. Okay, and spray that a little bit. We're going to try to cut this in half here, just like that. All right. And what we're trying to do now, we're going to get some flour up underneath it here. Okay. Try to get that lifted up and get the flour underneath of there. Okay, we're going to try to shape that without we're going to try to tuck it over and roll it here. We're going to try to shape it without letting a lot of the air out of it, okay? Like that. And we're going to pop it up on there. How's that look, Missy Jen? Pretty good?
Beautiful.
Okay, so there's our first one there. We'll sit that aside for a minute. And then we'll shape up our second one here. We're going to also flour the top of that a little bit. We want to drop that right on there. And we're going to kind of just roll that a little bit to shape. Don't lose a lot of the internal bubbles in there. Okay. Now we're going to put that on there, just like so. I'm going to run it underneath a little bit. Then we'll take a little flour. We'll dust the top here of it. Okay, and we're going to cover this. And we're going to let this do a final little rise here. Okay, so we'll see you guys back here in about 20 minutes or so. It'll be baking time. Your oven is preheated. As high as it'll go. And then you're going to grab your ice and be ready to go, okay? All right. Beautiful. Going to be bread time. All right, the oven's good and hot. We're going to switch these around. We're going to start this on the top. And then we're going to pop this one on the bottom here. And in goes the ice. And let's set this for about 10 minutes or so. And then we'll be in to check it. We are underway. We can take a little peek. There, it's doing good. It's rising good. Gonna go ahead and wait a couple more minutes, and then we're going to shift the loaves. I'm gonna give about 5 more minutes on that temperature. I think it's looking pretty good. I don't want to get it too hot. I'll probably shift them now. So let me go ahead and just reverse them. It's got really, really nice color to that. It'll look good. Alright, we're going to go ahead now and lower this down to about 425. And we're going to go about 25 minutes. The time is up. Put the oven mitt on. I combined both of the breads on the on one pan so it wouldn't get too hot on the bottom. And I'll tell you what, look at how beautiful those loaves look. Just brown, gorgeous. Till they're done inside, they got a nice ring. Oh, they are great. Well, we're going to transfer these over to the rack, and we'll see about slicing one for you.
Well, the vegetables fell on the, yeah.
I think you should always wait till the bread cools off a little bit before you slice it. I know it's very tempting. Go ahead. Isn't that nice crackle there, huh? Make sure your knife is really sharp. And you can see inside some of the nice holes of the ciabatta bread. And that's exactly what you want to see there. Go ahead and slice this a little more here. See that right there. Okay. You want it nice and soft in the middle. Got a nice crunch. Very tasty. Hey guys, thanks for being with me. Total work time, well, probably about 7 minutes, not 5 minutes, but definitely worth it. I've got today 2 beautiful loaves of ciabatta bread. Please give it a thumbs up, and thanks so much for watching.